Welcome aboard to podcast number 2 in the series of The Voyage to Back Yonder. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how I was informed of this 4th series and how I was moved to a new state, both literally and figuratively. This might take a few episodes. Well, it all started back in November of 2017. And I was visiting a friend of mine who just happens to be a shaman. And up to this point, she had never asked me if I wanted to hear from her guides, but this time she informed me that they were offering. So I took the hint and said, well, yes, of course, I'll ask them something. And hadn't planned for it, but what came to me is I just wanted to know if they had anything that they would like to share with me about what was coming up for me in the next year in 2018. I felt it was going to be a big year for me. And the message that they had for me was that 2018 would be about integrating everything I had learned about unconditional love and bringing it even more powerfully into my daily moments. And then there was a pause. And then the next message that came through was all about I would be rewriting my contract with my family. We have contracts that we kind of make agreements before we come down here on what experiences we're going to help each other through and help each other live and experience, like in a movie, kind of like a script. You're going to be this person for me, you're going to be this person for me, and I'm going to be this person for you. So they told me that my contract would be changing with my family in 2018. And honestly, at that point, I thought, okay, well, that means that the contract is completed and done, so their role in my life is done. That's what I thought. Little do we know. And that was it. That was the whole message to me. There was not a whole lot of detail yet, but it was a little intriguing. We begin our journeys by seeing this big mountain from a distance. You can barely make out its peaks, its color. It looks like a little purple mountain majesty. I don't know. It looks, I'm not sure the height of it. It looks kind of tall, and look how wide it is. Is that snow up on the tips of it? You can barely make it out. And that start of this new journey in our lives, as we come across them, it feels vague, but we at least know, okay, I'm headed toward that mountain. And so we begin to wander toward it. So throughout December of 2017 and into January of 2018, I suddenly began to feel an urge inside me to purge possessions and things and get ready to move, though I had no idea where I would be moving to. I had this idea in my head that I wanted to move south to like New Mexico, even though I don't prefer the heat. And really, I want somewhere where there's mountains and moisture and snow. I just love nature and all of that. And as I investigated the different cities and towns in New Mexico, looking at apartments and homes and all that recon work you do before you decide to check out an area, didn't have a whole lot of energy around moving to anywhere in that state. So I continued to focus on purging and clearing the clutter from my condo with intentions to sell it and move out to an apartment. And my brain saw that, this is a logical, gradual first step towards this unknown transition. And then in the last week of February of 2018, I published my 5th book, which was the last one on my radar, my little list of these 5 books I knew I was going to complete. So my attention focused on what is the next thing. And then my mind thought, I would move out into an apartment in June of 2018. Then I'd have a 1-year lease to gather myself and discover where I would be going and to calmly and intricately plan the transition to the new location in June of 2019. And if you know me, I have spreadsheets, I like things planned and I like things safely, organized for that kind of transition. Now, a little bit of a flashback. In 2013, about 5 years ago, I had contemplated moving to be near most of my family who had moved to northern Idaho. And in 2013, I did leave my job as a manager and planned to focus on starting my own business while living off the funds I had focused on, saving the year prior. My family and I hadn't really lived around each other or interacted much for about 15 years. And suddenly, I had decided that I was going to stay in Colorado Springs. So where I was going to move, I decided I'll stay here where I have, a lot of friendships and was, much more established in Colorado Springs. And I told myself that it would be the best thing to do to start up a business somewhere where people, knew you. In hindsight, I was afraid. I was afraid of the unknown, afraid of rejection. In Colorado Springs, I had tons of friends who loved and accepted me both as being gay and also who had an appreciation for the mystical type of beliefs and gifts that filled my life. The belief system of my family's religion didn't really look kindly upon both of those things. So in my head, I had this image of my family not really accepting these things about me, but more like tolerating them because they loved me. And, that feels different. Feels like a different kind of love when you're embraced for who you are compared to a love where someone looks past those things that they don't accept about you. So really, I just feared facing the rejection. It was not time to move at that time in 2013, because over the following 5 years, from 2013 to 2018, I really went through a journey of facing those fears and was turned inward to find the unconditional love from the Creator of all things. I experienced the embrace of unconditional love inside me that I was seeking from the outward world. Timing is always perfect. So forward back to February of 2018, I was on my way to have coffee with a dear friend in Castle Rock, Colorado. And as I was driving on the highway, I was suddenly aware that I had settled for my Nissan Cube that I was driving, because it was a reasonable thing to do with gas mileage and price, etc. What I had always really wanted was a pickup truck, large cabbed, 4-wheel drive, 8 cylinders, awesome truck. It didn't seem to make sense to me at that time, though. Didn't drive a whole lot since I work from home, and the weather in Colorado Springs wasn't usually filled with anything that was in need of a 4-wheel drive. So why would I need a truck? Why would I want a truck? No answer. So to the back burner it goes. The next day, I was on the way to the store to pick up a vertical blind for my sliding glass door to prepare my condo for sale. I started to think about a truck again. Not even a block down the road where I was driving, this very old pickup truck on the right-hand side of the road had like these big red spray-painted words "Ford" on its tailgate, which stood out to me. I was like, okay, I get it. A pickup truck is in my future. And then to the back burner it went again. The following Sunday, one of my nieces posted a video of northern Idaho. And it was a sunny day in the video. You know, they were out in the forest where snow was dripping from the trees with vivid blue skies in the background. And I was like, wow, that is just beautiful. And then thoughts of moving to Sandpoint, Idaho, came into my head. Finally, maybe some information about where I may be headed. You know, Sandpoint is located about 30 miles north of my brother and an hour north of the rest of my family that lives in northern Idaho. So, you know, it's close, but not too close. You know, when you're living near family, you know, you have this idea in your head. And I was thinking, you know, my nephew's getting married in May of 2018. So I thought, you know, if I'm able to go to the wedding, then I would just take a trip up there and check it out. See what I see, you know, feel what I feel. I started getting a little excited. And I felt this urge, so let me go pull up some pictures of Sandpoint, you know, on Google and see what it looks like. And I was like, wow, it was beautiful. And there was this picture that jumped out at me with, it had mountains and this huge lake that's right at the foot of the town and a full moon up in the sky, and it had some hazy fog in it, and just a beautiful picture. And then I was encouraged to pull a card from my Zen card deck regarding, well, let me see, a possible move to northern Idaho. Let's see what, you know, the whispers of love have to say. And the card that I pulled was a card called Silence. And it's a picture of a mountain range with a lake that has a haze and a fog on it with a full moon up in the sky. It was like, no frickin' way. And I'll post the pictures on the YouTube version of this podcast and also on my website too for this podcast episode, because it is crazy how if you slice the picture in half, that I found on Google, how striking the resemblance the picture is of the card and the picture on the internet. I was just blown away. It's just so crazy. And at that moment, something changed in my heart. My intention switched to focus on preparing to move out of my condo by June 1st of this year in 2018, and then scout out moving to Sandpoint in June of 2019 the next year. So I had gone part-time in 2017 to focus on my dream of publishing those 5 books. Now that that was done, I'd return to full-time to save up money for my move. Woohoo, here we go. And then the message from November of 27 hit me. Integration of unconditional love. New contract with my family. Duh. You know, the change in contract was not the end of the interactions with my family and the completion of the contract, but we were to reignite interaction with them. You know, our families could be the biggest roots we have that go the deepest into our hearts. You know, they've been growing our entire lives, and like the rings within a tree. You know, when you cut a tree in half and look at all the rings on the stump, you know, they're filled with the experiences of our external weathering of emotions. As our roots have been exposed to our perceptions and understanding of our surroundings, you know, they're impressed upon our roots. And like staring at an object for a great amount of time, it leaves an impression on our eyes when we are looking in a different direction. We think we see life clearly, but our vision is influenced by what we thought we saw up to this point in our lives. I knew moving near my family would create a whole new world of mirrors to see myself, to question myself, but also to understand myself and free myself from those conditional love laws that were deeply rooted in my brain from birth. And when we choose to hang around like-minded individuals with the same beliefs, we can stop being challenged and our growth can stagnate. but coming across new perspectives that challenge our own belief of the supposed to be that rattles our cages. And it is a healthy experience for us. Next episode, the craziness starts to unfold. So hold on to your horses because things are about to get spooky. But until then, take some quiet time to get honest with yourself. What is it, that thing that you keep making excuses about not looking at? When is that later time going to happen? Make a decision today to take one tiny step toward it. You will be so happy that you did. Try writing a letter or draft an email to the younger you, telling them what to expect over the coming years and how brave you know that you will be. Congratulate them on always getting through every challenge that has faced them over the years up until today. Because you have a 100% survival rate up to this very second, or you wouldn't be hearing this. So congratulations. Celebrate. I love you.